Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to the 400th episode of Dreams and Drive. I'm so excited for you guys to listen to all the lessons that I've learned over 400 episodes. But before we get into today's rocking episode, let's sit back, put in your seatbelts, and let's hear a quick word from one of our sponsors. Summer's here, and you know staying hydrated should be one of your biggest priorities. That's why Smart Water is always on my list. As a busy mom and always on the go, I love how easy it is to hold Smart Water and how it is just the right accessory for my daily outfits. With days in mind that usually involve a lot of overthinking, Smart Water provides a refreshing change of pace and allows me not to have to think too much. Plus, the taste is great too. Smart Water has this pure, crisp taste with added electrolytes, and I love it. Life's full of choices. Smart Water is the simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. Hey Dream Drivers, it's Raina here, and I've got something exciting to share with y'all today. You know we're always on the hunt for that perfect refreshment, and let me tell you, Starry Lemon Lime Soda hits different. There's something about that crisp, clear burst of lemon lime flavor that just brings the good vibes and great taste every time. And the best part, it's caffeine-free, so you can enjoy it anytime, anywhere without the jitters. Whether you're catching up with friends, taking a moment for yourself, or just need a refreshing pick-me-up, a crisp, cold sip of Starry is like a little burst of in every can. It's the perfect companion for all those moments that make life sweet. So what are you waiting for? It's time to see other sodas. Go find Starry now in stores or online and experience that refreshingly crisp taste for yourself. Stay refreshed, stay dreaming, and let's get into this episode. All right, so we're back in the driver's seat today with a brand new episode. 400 episodes of Dreams in Drive. Can you imagine that? If this is your first time listening, welcome. Dreams in Drive is a podcast that I launched in 2016, and it's all about how to teach individuals, especially creatives, lifestyle entrepreneurs, people who are, in creative, free-thinking fields. You want to learn how can you take your dreams out of park and put them into drive. This is the show that I've been cultivating, that I've been nurturing for the past 8 years, past 400 episodes. And I've learned so much from let's just do a quick fact check. I've had probably over 350 guests on the show. I've had over 1.5 million downloads. This has been a testament of dedication, of love, of perseverance, of passion. So much has gone to this show. I've changed since launching the show in 2016. I was a completely different person. I now, 2024, am a mother of 2. Working at a huge global media company, running this show, doing so many things. And it's just a reminder that once you start, you'll never know where you'll end up, but you won't end up anywhere if you never start, right? I wanted to focus this episode in on just things that you can do if you're building something, if you're trying to put a dream into drive, and learning from my 400 episodes of this show, all that I've learned and what I want to share with you. So let us get started, guys. First things first. When I first launched the show, the biggest thing that helped me was becoming a student of the industry. I did not know anything about podcasting. I knew nothing about podcasting, but I knew that I wanted to learn. And because I had that desire to learn, I knew that I could learn. And what I did in that summer of 2015, fall 2015, before launching the show was I became a student. I studied, I read, I talked to people, and I did not let my inability to be perfect or my not knowing everything stop me. And that's a big thing. No matter what you're building, you guys have to really, truly lean into being a student of the industry and just trying to absorb as much as you can. So for me, it was podcasting, it was marketing, it was sales, it was relationships. I wanted to be successful, and I had this huge desire of wanting and being real about it. Like, I didn't want to just put something out and nobody knew about it. And I wanted people to know that it was Raina Campbell who was the one behind it. So that drove me a lot. And I also learned in the beginning, you really have to understand the ecosystem of what you're building. You don't have to understand how to do everything, but you have to understand what needs to be done. And I say that a lot of times is because I think a lot of times we go into things blindly and we just focus on the things that we like. As creatives, sometimes as myself, like I may not like the accounting. I may not like the the more detailed oriented things, but you have to understand the puzzles that you're trying to put together, the puzzle pieces that are being put together, and what eventually needs to be put together so that you can have this end product. You don't have to be an expert at everything, but I'm a core believer of at least having a 360 view of what needs to be built, or the ideal scenario will definitely help you as you're building something. It's kind of like having that vision board, that vision plan, that goal, that overall, what is it that I want to do, is so important. Even I remember back in the day, like I built the Dreams and Drive website. It needs to be redone. So if anybody knows of any really good website builders, but just by attacking that in the beginning and getting my hands dirty, which is what it was, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and just tinker in things in the beginning. Because I think having that underlying base knowledge is going to be super important. Another big thing that I think learned that helps after 400 episodes of Dreams and Drive is relationships. Relationships are what helped me build this podcast. Beyond just even getting guests on the show, because this is the interview-based show, guests have been a huge part of this show. Nurturing relationships that I already had, nurturing relationships that I wanted for myself was important. I think having a mentor-like relationship, masterminding had really helped me. I had 2 masterminds, I believe, in the beginning really helped. Was like a friend mastermind with my fellow friends who were also building things. We used to have this weekly mastermind where we talked about things and just helped kind of brainstorm areas. Another thing that really helped was my podcast. I call it the Podcast Super System Mastermind. And for some time, it was me, Dr. Joy of Therapy for Black Girls, Nikayla of Side Hustle Pro, Jamila of Journey to Launch podcast, Art Steele, who used to have the Legalese podcast. And we became like a tribe, and we had a WhatsApp group where we just bounced ideas off of each other. And it was so important to have that because you don't want to exist in anything alone. And I think a lot of times we're trying to build things alone. We're trying to do a lot alone, and it doesn't have to be like that. So I've learned to lean into community. Another person who was so instrumental in the beginning days of the podcast was Barry of Podcast in Color. Find the leaders in your niche. Find the people who are doing big things, who are building great things, and don't be afraid to introduce yourself. I just spoke to a college class earlier today, and I said that, like, the biggest thing you can do is advocate for yourself. Another thing is you also want to build community with your listeners. There are day one listeners in this show who have been riding with me for day one and building that community and being able to know that, like, when I post something, I know who's going to respond, and knowing that I'm building a resource for people that they can come back and revisit when they need to has been really important along this journey, and I think has helped me get to where I am. Hey, Dream Drivers, if you're like me, you know the struggle of dealing with a wild child who just won't keep their diaper on. That's why I'm excited to share my favorite Pampers Cruisers 360, the ultimate baby-proof diaper for your little explorer. Pampers Cruisers 360 features a 360-degree stretchy waistband instead of the usual tabs. This unique design helps prevent your baby from removing their diaper, which means no more unexpected messes. And trust me, this is a game changer. One of the best parts, Pampers Cruisers 360 offers up to 100% leak-proof protection with a gap-free fit no matter how your baby moves. It's super easy to remove too. Just rip the sides, roll it up with a disposal tape on the back, and you're good to go. Try Pampers Cruisers 360 with the new Pampers Free and Gentle wipes for healthy baby skin. They're made from 100% plant-based cloth that grips the mess, with Free and Gentle mess meets its match. Add Pampers Cruisers 360 and Free and Gentle wipes to your cart or pick them up at your local grocery or big box store. Say goodbye to messes and hello to more fun with Pampers. Remember, for trusted protection, trust Pampers, the #1 pediatrician recommended brand. This is what you do when your love of the sneaker game has you chasing the limited editions, the classics, and the real ones. You go to eBay. There you'll find the one again and again. The latest sneaker drop you can't stop thinking about, one-of-a-kind streetwear you're dying to wear, and fresh collabs you didn't even know you needed. But of course, your appetite goes beyond what's on your feet. On eBay, you'll feast your eyes on a full menu of hard-to-finds. Start with some fresh kicks, then fall in love with a pair of 90s denim or that vintage leather jacket to style them perfectly. Then make a designer collab your main course, the cherry on top, a timeless watch, or an iconic rare handbag, and the jewelry of your dreams, all expertly authenticated. Yeah, eBay. It's the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay. Things people love.
McDonald's Change of Fashion program is helping boost the careers of 5 rising Black designers. Why does it matter? We asked fashion journalist Zoe Washington.
Black culture has a major influence on fashion that helps the industry generate $350 billion in the U.S. alone, but only 7.3% of American designers are Black.
So McDonald's is helping boost the careers of 5 rising Black designers. Learn more on IG at WeAreGolden.
Statistics provided by Zapier.com as of 2021 and Statista.com.
To pause, you might have to put things in park. You might have to start over. But leaning into that discomfort, leaning into that fear, leaning into the unknown is actually good because there's so much that is coming for you in the unknown. I say that because if I had stopped the podcast 10 episodes in, when I didn't have that many downloads, I would have never got to episode 32, which is when the podcast really picked up in the beginning days, 2016, when I got that first feature from Apple Podcasts. And that episode was a huge episode and allowed me to really, I think it was episode 32, 35, but it just allowed me to build something that I didn't know I could build and get that exposure and just catapult me to a different level mentally and just give me confidence that, hey, if you put your work in and you try to do something, you can get results. Another thing that I've learned is don't be afraid to ask questions. And I say that maybe the real thing here is don't be afraid to really hone in on who you are and allow your gift to shine for you. And my big thing that has helped set this podcast apart has been my ability to ask questions. My guests say they love it. My listeners say they love it. I know that I'm just naturally inquisitive and it's been a natural gift of mine. Like, lean into your gifts. Your gift will make a way for you. It's something that if you listen to any episode, any of our guests say when they lean into their natural skill sets, things started working in for them. And when they let themselves be who they need to be naturally and lean into the things that they're naturally curious about, there's so much natural movement that comes from that cannot be replaced. So I want to say, just remember that if you're ever in a time of doubt, ask questions of yourself. Like, what is it that I really want to do? Be real with yourself. I say that because I think a lot of us aren't being real with ourselves, and that's why we get stuck, because we're either trying to pursue someone else's dream, and we're not pursuing the dream that we really want to pursue because we're tired or that we're thinking of something else. So don't be afraid.
With the $5 meal deal at McDonald's, 5 hits different. 5 gets you a McDouble or a McChicken and a small fry and a small drink and a 4-piece McNuggets. 5 gets you more at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. For limited time only. You got 5 on it? With the $5 meal deal at McDonald's, you about to eat. Your choice of a tender, juicy McChicken or a hot, cheesy McDouble sandwich and a crispy 4-piece McNuggets and a small fries and a small drink for just $5.
Money.
Woo. 5 gets you more at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. For limited time only.
This week's episode of Dreams and Drive is brought to you by Smart Water. So this summer, I have a lot of goals, and getting out and staying active is number one. But if you want to be active, you got to stay hydrated, and that's where Smart Water comes in. I love how complimentary Smart Water is to my daily routine. It fits right in my baby bag, it's easy to put in the car bottle holder, and just looks good if I'm holding it in my hand or my daily walks with the kids. When it comes to living my life, there's a lot to overthink. what's for lunch, who's getting the kids, who do I need to reach out to for interviews, what's for dinner. But at least I don't have to overthink my water. And look, later today, I know I'm going to have to take that little one out for his daily ATV ride and walk around the block with this pure, crisp taste and added electrolytes. I know that we'll all stay hydrated for our summer excursions, and the taste will be on point too. Smart Water provides a refreshing change of pace, a moment of clarity with a simple choice of hydrating. And at this stage in my life, that is super important. Life's full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. Another thing that I've learned is stay focused on yourself, but don't wear blacked out blinders. I say that because in this industry it can be hard. I know for me as a podcaster, it's like all these people are having podcasts. Everyone seems to be just so much more successful than me. What are they doing? Now, I have to stay focused on what I'm building, but I also don't want to be blind to competition, and I don't want to be blind to how the world is changing around me. So I think a lot of people, this is a hard part. It's like you have to know what you're building, but you also have to know where you're building it and how you can adapt what you're building to the times. So guests have changed over the past 400 episodes. Like topics have changed because of what's been going on in the world, what you all, my listeners, are really need at the time. So stay focused on what you're building, but don't be so blind that you're not understanding where you're building it and how the world around you is changing, because you don't want to be out here, trying to build a house when around you has turned to water and you should have been building a boat, right? So that's an analogy I just came up with, but hopefully you get what I'm saying there. Another thing that I want you to remember is everything you are doing matters, even if it feels like it doesn't. What you're learning right now, and if you think the lesson you're learning may be too hard or it just doesn't seem like it's anything, one day the experiences that you're having are all going to make sense, are going to help you get through something else. You just don't know it yet. So stay the course. Stay the course. There have been so many things with Dreams and Drive that, thinking about it, I remember when I was in like my dinner party era and I was trying to get into these happy hour events and the pandemic hit and I had to kind of blind that, got pregnant. But now I'm in a new area, a new space where really want to get back into doing in-person experiences, and that might even be a business model that I lean into. But because I've had that prior experience, although it was a while ago, I produced Side Hustle Pro Live, her first live show. I was working on a live show for Journey to Launch when that didn't happen anymore. That stuff and all that experience, all that knowledge is going to come back to help me. So I'm excited about that. Another thing is to remember that I had to go through is understand where your end is, or if you're not building for an end. And I say that because if you're building something to have a result that you are going towards, if your goal, let's say, is to get acquired, there are certain things that you need to be doing in order to get towards that. But let's say you're someone who's like, I don't know yet what that is, but I'm building and I'm going to see where this takes me. That's also another perfectly viable route. And for me with building Dreams and Drive, I knew I didn't necessarily have an end. So it wasn't like, okay, I'm only going to do this for 100 episodes. But I said, I want to keep doing this until I'm not supposed to do it anymore. And that's been the route I've been taking. And it's worked for me. It's worked for me, because I've also had a full-time job to fall back on. I want to talk about that in a future episode. I actually had an Instagram listener, one of my girls on Instagram. She gave me really good idea for an episode. So I'm going to do that as a separate episode of the Managing the 9-to-5 Life. But there have been so many things where I'm happy I never gave up on the show. Now, even if this podcast never makes it to 1 million downloads per episode, I'll still be content with what I've been able to build with where it has been. I think there has been a lot of people, and I'm also not saying this, I want to make clear here too, is just because I've had it for a long time doesn't mean that it's any more better than somebody who's had, let's say, a really successful business for only 4 years, and they shut it down. Like that was their end. And you are It's perfectly fine to put a dream into park if you're okay with it and that was the end of that dream for you and you're off to build something else or you're doing something else. That's perfectly okay. But this show, I hope that what everyone gets out of this show, from all our listeners, from my solo episodes, is that little inkling of something that you want to make real for yourself is something that can be done, but you're going to have to get into the driver's seat. I say that because so many times we want things for ourselves, but we aren't willing to just get in the driver's seat and drive. And if I never got into the driver's seat, if I never spoke my reality into existence and at the same time made the actual effort for it to happen, then I would still be, who knows where I would be. I want to remind you all that if you feel like the dream hasn't come yet, you're living in the dream. If you feel like there's not a light going off for you, you are the light. And allowing yourself to hold the steering wheel of your life, of your mission, of your dream is the biggest thing you can do for yourself. It's the biggest reminder. The relationship with yourself is the most important one. And if you don't nurture that, if you're not intentional about what you're speaking to yourself, what you're allowing yourself to believe, nothing you want will happen. And I'm not trying to be mean here, but I've seen a lot of people and I've learned a lot from the people on the show is you have to take accountability for what you want. And I wanted this podcast to be something that people remembered. And now on the horizon, the next step for me is I want this podcast to grow. And I have to now do what I need to make that happen. And I'm excited about the things that I have expanded, that I have on the horizon. I'm going to be working on an expanded business model, so really getting some new revenue streams in, building the community. I want to get back to in real life experiences. There are things that I think I was shying away from just because of the state of motherhood that I was in and just how hectic life has been for me on the motherhood route. But my kids are getting a little bit older and I'm getting more confident about what I'm able to do. So I am just super excited to be able to dive in and see what another 400 episodes looks like 8 years from now, right? 8 years from now, 16 years into Dreams and Drive. I only hope that it's a lot bigger and better. And maybe it will still be these interview episodes. I don't know, but I'm just super excited. And I just want to say thank you guys for getting me here. It's also ironic that it was just Axel's birthday over the weekend and being able to celebrate him turning 400 episodes. Just seeing how this metaphor of movement is all in my life with my son's names, Axel and Diesel, Dreams and Drive. I'm smiling right now because this might seem like I'm rambling a lot, but I'm just really proud of myself. And I could get into very specific things, which is why if you guys want, maybe we can do like a Zoom carpool episode where I invite you all into Zoom and we record the conversation and just record us reflecting on things and questions and just talking about things that way. I'm super excited for us to just get into it and really hone in on all the amazing things that you all are doing. As I say in every episode, keep dreaming, keep driving. Thank you for getting me to 400 episodes of Dreams and Drive. And I am super excited on where we'll go next. Bye, guys.